Senator the Honorable Gloria Thomas, Minister for Housing, Community and Social Development and Gender Affairs, Ms. Petal Rush, Permanent Secretary with responsibility for Social Development and Gender Affairs, Ms. Kinder DeBellat, Seed Manager, Ministry of Housing, Community and Social Development. Good morning to the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique and members of the media. This morning, we continue to grapple with the heartbreaking tragedy that has shaken our nation to its core just a few days ago. Another innocent life taken in an act of brutal gender-based violence. This has left a family grieving, a community traumatized, and a country once again forced to confront the urgent threats of violence against women and girls. This moment demands not only our collective grief, but our collective courage. Too many families in Grenada know the pain of such loss. Too many names, too many lives, too many futures stolen. We cannot and must not allow this cycle of violence to continue. Let this moment be more than reflection. Let it be a turning point and a call to action, a national awakening. Before we proceed with this morning's press conference, I invite us all, here in this room and across the nation, to pause for a moment of silence, a moment to honor her memory, stand with her family, and acknowledge all victims and survivors of gender-based violence. Thank you, Grenada. I now move to Senator the Honorable Gloria Thomas, Minister for Housing, Community and Social Development and Gender Affairs, to make her opening remarks. Minister.
Thank you, Ms. Etienne. Let me acknowledge my PS and my city manager who is here with me to be part of this important press briefing. 2 months ago, when we planned this press briefing, little did we know that our country will be thrown into mourning in the way it is at this current time. We are here this morning not only to talk about development in social development, but also to reflect on the life and the situation that has recently rocked this nation, the death of a young woman. And so we continue as a ministry to work to sensitize the public, to reach out for stronger legislation, and to ensure that women and girls are protected. This incident has shown us that gender-based violence is not only about what happens in the home or the way a partner may treat another. But it shows us that there are many different aspects where gender-based violence can be demonstrated. And I hasten to add, when we came forward with the bill of legal, civil and legal responsibility, this is a step in helping us address gender-based violence as well. This bill is seeking to ensure that children under the age of 16, as the bill says, but I will say under 14, 13, should have the access to go reach out for counseling, to reach out for services, to reach out for medical assistance when they are violated. Many of our homes do not have parents who are able to be a parent for their children. This bill was a bill to fill that gap. There was an outcry about taking parents' responsibility. This bill is far from that. The bill was set out to ensure that children who do not have parents who are responsive, they may be there physically, but emotionally they are absent. Parents whose children cannot have a conversation with them, these children could seek alternative source of comfort and service. And that is what this bill is about. However, we had many people coming out and kill the bill, kill the bill. But the same people standing up now and say, we're so saddened by gender-based violence and so on. So as a people, we have to be a little more honest with ourselves. And if we are serious about gender-based violence, we shouldn't let politics and political mileage get in the way of our work to stop gender-based violence. And I feel very much emotional about it. Because while as a ministry, we are working to ensure that gender-based violence is addressed, we have persons on the other end trying to look at the negative part of this bill to promote all sort of confusion and all kind of the misinformation to the public. And I had to make that point here this morning in light of what happened over the weekend. And so as a ministry, we continue to do the work. There are many interventions that we have made and continue to make. 2 or 3 months ago, Grenada was named as one of the countries in the region that is leading on gender-based initiative. We are always doing something because we realize this scourge, we need to get rid of it. And so we want to encourage the public, we want to encourage women's organizations, we want to encourage churches, civil society organizations to come forward to work along with us so that our agenda could be realized. We need to reduce the number of gender-based violence in this country. When we check the assizes, most of the cases are sexual-related cases, and that says something very concerning for us as a people. And so I want to ask parents, I want to reach out to parents, I want to implore that parents try to raise their boys in a more socially acceptable way. We leave the boys to roam. We leave the boys out of order, and we fleece boys, but they are out there picking up the bad habits, doing what is antisocial and creating another problem. When you look around, you go to a school fair, small children, you see trying to gyrate on the girls, and people laughing and they clapping. I'm not amused by that. And I think even as men on the street, you hear how they speak to a woman when she passes. You hear the comments they make. And I see our men very much disrespectful to our women. That is not far from rape. So I think as a people, we need to take a deep look at how we treat women, how we respond to women, and how we conduct ourselves when it comes to gender relations. And I believe that if we get everyone on board, less of those incidents will occur, and we'll have less of those incidents to deal with.
Thank you, Minister, for those opening remarks. We want to also highlight the Grenada Living Conditions Index this morning. And so at this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Kinder DeBellet, our SEED manager, to bring you some remarks as well.
Good morning, everybody. The Ministry of Social Development, we were engaged in the piloting of a new tool over a 5 to 6 months period with more than 225 households equally and randomly selected across all parishes. Household was drawn from each of the existing GLCI group 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, providing a balanced and comprehensive assessment of the tool performance prior to rollout. In conducting the pilot, the ministry received a high level of cooperative from respondents, which make the piloting much easier. The sample selected gave a gender balance of both male and female-headed household parent, thus ensuring that the vision of both gender was taken into consideration. Findings from the pilot inform final refinement to the tool and confirm its importance. It improved accuracy in identifying households most in need. The revised GLCI will support more transparent, data-driven decision-making and strengthen public confidence in social assistance program.
Thank you, Kinda. We wanted to highlight what the tool is as well, so I'd like to invite Minister to explain what that new tool is and how it came about.
We speak of GLCI, and that simply means Grenada Living Condition Index. So this tool is a modern, data-driven targeting tool that allows the government of Grenada to better identify households most in need of support. It strengthens fairness, transparency, and accountability in how social assistance is delivered, ensuring public resources reach the people who need them the most. The previous tool was built on data that was nearly 2 decades old. Grenada has changed, poverty has changed, and government policy must change with it. Updating the tool is part of this government's commitment to evidence-based decision-making and to ensuring that social protection policies reflect today's economic realities, not yesterday's. So for example, the old tool, when we did the assessment in the past, persons without bathroom and toilet will have been weighted heavily because this was a condition that we were living in Grenada under for quite some time. Now that most of the beneficiaries are given bathroom and toilets, this will not be part of the heavy weighted items. So for example, people say, you have bathroom and toilet, so you're well off, so you can get, but everybody having bathroom and toilet now. So with all these changing realities, we have to adjust the tool, and that is just one example, to suit the changing reality in the Grenada situation.
Thank you, Minister. We now invite any questions from the media at this time, if you have any, or Ms. DeBella, do you want to add to? Okay, P.S. Rush will add to the conversation.
Good morning, everyone. Just want to recognize Minister Senator the Honorable Gloria Thomas, and good morning, Grenada. We just wanted to highlight that the old tool, given the changes in reality, there was an exclusion error that persons who are presently deemed as poor were not able to be added to the seed beneficiary list. As a consequence, we had to engage the World Bank, who came in and restructured the tool, and as a consequence, we were able to decrease the exclusion error by 59%. And of course, we had the inclusion error by 51.7%. In addition, we would like to highlight the previous GLCI tool had 40 questions, but given that poverty has changed and we had to ensure that we had a comprehensive tool that can capture the data, that questionnaire was expanded to 45 questions. And of course, as Ms. DeBella highlighted, given the pilot that was done, it was a 2-month pilot to determine the effectiveness of the tool. And based on the result, we were able to restructure, and we are pleased to announce that the tool is effective and, of course, will be implemented. And, of course, I must say, Minister has championed this tool, and it will be implemented over a 3-month period. Approval has been granted by Cabinet, and it will be implemented over the next 3 months, which would include gap analysis, restructuring of the BMIS system, and of course training of seed officers. So just wanted to highlight this information.
All right, thank you, PS. So before we take questions from the media, I wanted to ask a question. Who benefits from this new approach, and when do we anticipate this starting?
Well, the GLCI 2.0 perform better across the board, including in the rural and urban communities and among priority groups such as female-headed households, households with persons with disability or chronically ill, and this reflects the government commitment to equity and the social justice. So we're focusing a lot on women, single women households, persons with disabilities, and people with chronically ill situations.
Thank you. And the follow-up question to that is, when do we see this taking place?
If I may, as I indicated, it will be a 3-month period commencing from this month. We're looking to launch late April, early May to launch the actual tool, and of course we will be having that launch in April, May for the latest. The tool has to be restructured, and therefore we have to ensure that we do what is necessary so that it will be effective for the implementation process.
Okay. Thank you, PS. And thank you, Minister, and to our seed manager, thank you as well. I now invite all members of the media, if you have questions at this time, you may proceed to ask them.
Good morning. My name is Dansha Alexander from Whitman Radio. You would have answered my question, one of the questions that I had. All right, so the next question I think is for Minister. In leading the charge on gender-based violence, is there anything that the ministry has planned for the upcoming months to bring more awareness to the nation?
Well, to begin with, tomorrow we'll be doing a candlelight vigil, starting at Crossroad Church and going down to the area where the incident occurred. We are inviting and encouraging the public to come out. We are also inviting NGOs and women organizations to be part of what we're doing. And we continue to sensitize the public. Yesterday I did a release. I wasn't able to hear it last night because there was no internet where I live. But I think that was part of the sensitization, that was part of reaching out to the family. This was part of showing the community that we're responsive and we are part of what is happening in terms of feeling the pain of others, in terms of showing support and being there for the family and the wider community.
Thank you for your response, Minister. We have another question from MTV.
Good morning, Lily Pascal, MTV. My questions are for Minister. In your opening remarks, you made a call for unified national response involving churches, NGOs, and community leaders. How can these groups collaborate and actively support the fight against gender-based violence?
Well, as a ministry, we do have social partners like health and education and the police and so on. So when we are having those interactions and those meetings, we could ask them to send a representative to be part of those meetings, because we always meet. The key social partners always meet to discuss the issue and to look at strategies, look at recommendations that could make to government. And we're looking now at probably asking for some change in policy in terms of jail sentence or things that could deter people from getting into this life of crime.
Thank you very much. Another question. As you rightfully stated earlier, we know that the island is in an uproar, mourning and so. For citizens who are angry, fearful, and demanding change, let's say, what message would you send out today, particularly to women and girls who may be fearful to leave their home and go out?
Well, what I would say to persons who fear, well, fear is a normal thing in a situation like that, but I could just encourage them to be a little bit relaxed about everything. Don't stress too much, because this will not change anything. But everybody have a right to the feelings and the emotions. I can tell them to be fearful. And what we want to do is to continue to reach out to the community, because we will be having tomorrow a debriefing session in the community. We'll be having it in the Crochet RC School. And persons who... What time? Today in the afternoon. Oh, PS is just correcting me. She says today, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is the candlelight, sorry. So today we'll be meeting with the community in the Crochet School. Members who feel that they want to be debriefed, persons who feel they want to talk about it, persons who feel that they really need some support and some encouragement. We're inviting them to come out to the school, the communities, so that we could give that support and that kind of encouragement to them.
Thank you. I know there's a journalist trying to get on at this time, so we, while we wait, there was another question. How does this all benefit the Grenada? How does the new seed, how do you call it, the new seed pilot, how does that benefit Grenada, the new instrument?
Well, the new instrument will stand up. It stands up well against the international benchmark, so that we're on par with what is expected internationally. Because as you know, we got the technical support from the World Bank, and I believe that with this new tool, there will be more equity, there will be more fairness, and the people will be serviced in a more just way.
All right, there is a question on our YouTube channel. It says, explain the inclusion and exclusion error, and what does the BMI system mean? I think, P.S., you mentioned BMI system.
The inclusion and exclusion error. When the World Bank came in, we used the 2028 living conditions survey. This is one of the data that is used in terms of developing the new tool. As a consequence, the World Bank did analysis of that survey and aligned it to the tool. So the tool was used to evaluate based on the data that was collected on poverty, and it was noted that 59% of persons that was considered to be poor would be excluded from the old tool, given that it's archaic and it needed to be updated. Therefore, because of that analysis, we were able to determine that the tool is presently ineffective, and therefore we have to develop a new tool that truly reflects what poverty looks like in today's society. So the exclusion and inclusion, it was an analysis that was done on the 2018 Grenada Living Standard Conditions Survey, and this survey was selected because that is the tool that is used to determine poverty in Grenada. So as a consequence, the World Bank used that survey to determine the effectiveness of the old tool, that is the GLCI tool, and of course to determine how effective and therefore whether change is needed. In terms of the BMI system, that is the actual system that is used to generate the scores to determine whether somebody is eligible to be included in the SEED program. So the questionnaire that has been, the 45 questionnaire, the SEED officers would be using that questionnaire to evaluate an applicant. Based on the data that is received, it is inputted into the BMIS system, which generates a score, and the score would be 1 to 4. Previously, it was 1 to 5, and because of the restructuring, the score would be from 1 to 4. If you fall in the category 1, you are deemed to be in need of support. 2, 3, and 4, those would be evaluated, further evaluated whether support can be given. But once you fall within category 1, you will be qualified for beneficiaries under the SEED program.
Okay, so beneficiaries must fall under category 1. Earlier in your presentation, you talked about 45 questions.
Yes.
So they have to answer the 45 questions. That's the application process.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, so it's a questionnaire. We want to ensure transparency and accountability. It's not about who you are, but it's ensuring that it's transparent across the board. So it's one questionnaire for everyone to evaluate whether you are eligible to receive SIG benefits. So that questionnaire is applied when an officer goes out. They would meet with the applicant, sit with them, complete the questionnaire, after which it will be inputted into the BMIS system to determine eligibility.
Okay. We do have a question, I believe, from Kalistra. Kalistra, you may proceed with your question at this time.
Actually, my question is not on the SEED program, so I was going to listen a little bit more and then jump in. It's not on the news conference. Is the Minister Thomas at the news conference as was planned? Because I'm just logging into it. Is she there?
Yes, so our minister is here. We have P.S. Rush is also here. We started the press conference talking about gender-based violence. So if you have a question on that, you can ask that as well. If not, we can move to another question.
Okay, well, it is not specifically on gender-based violence, but it cross cuts. Minister, good morning. Good morning to your head, Tivo.
Good morning.
The incident of another set of violent incidents, the attempted rape of an elderly woman and the killing of a young girl has again brought attention to those issues, as happens whenever these shocking events occur. Can you tell me, as minister responsible for areas of vulnerability, women, children, the mentally ill, and so on, can you tell me what it is in terms of policy shifts? What policy shifts can you point to that deals with the issues that apply here, where the mentally ill people, the protection of women and girls and the elderly, and to ensure that there's a system where people do not fall through the cracks and where a violent rapist who came out of prison after 10 years gets to just be free? Yes, he served the sentence, but is there any sort of plan to have any kind of monitoring? What's a policy shift related to trying to avoid things like that happening?
Thank you for your question.
Sorry, very long question.
Thank you for your question. One of the things that we've been looking at as a government is to have in place a register for offenders where we can make it available to the public so we know who those offenders are, sex offenders, so you can guard yourself against them. If you see them in your community, you look out for your neighbor, you speak about it, you say, well, you know, this man that raped 3 times is out there, I see you renting Miss Jane house down the road. So we have to have community watch in those instances because we know who the people are, and we have to come as a community to really protect and look out for each other. The police won't be able to do everything, and the police cannot be everywhere all the time. But as community, we have to look out for each other. So if we have the register, we know who those people are, and we could guide ourselves against them. In terms of the jail sentence, that was a discussion we were having yesterday too. We are thinking that calendar years should be calendar years, and you should not know jail years and calendar years. So if you get a sentence for 33 years, it's 33 years. Because I think they say 8 months or 9 months is a jail year or something so. So I don't know why we're so lenient to the persons who go to prison. I think a year is a year, and if it's 12 months for us outside here, it should be 12 months for them inside it. So this is a policy shift we are considering. So when we hear a man get 33 years and coming out after 10 years, that ain't making much sense for victims and survivors and family and community. We have to protect the community from persons who we think need rehabilitation, longer period of time to be rehabilitated, because after 10 years you come out and you have the same habit and the same practice, that means he was not rehabilitated.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Kalistra, for the question.
I'm sorry, I have a follow-up. Please do indulge me, First Secretary.
No.
The Sex Offenders Register is a conversation that has been happening for a very, very long time. Can you tell me, as part of the government's legislative agenda that they intend to take to Parliament, how close are you to tabling legislation that will seek to have the Sex Offenders Register in place? Would you also consider chemical castration as one of the laws that you will take to Parliament to attach to sex crimes? And also, Minister, I just want to say that the gentleman, I haven't researched it yet, but I would believe that if someone got a 33 sentence, it was probably a bundle of sentences that ran concurrently, because even with the 9 months at the jail year, 33 years does not whittle down to 10, even with that calculation. So it's probably that instead of getting consecutive sentences, he was given concurrent and would have served the longest of the sentences with, of course, the 9 months off. So how close are you in your legislative agenda to the Sex Offenders Register, please?
Well, as you know, the Ministry of Legal Affairs is the one who work on the legislation to take it to the Parliament. I can assure you it will happen this year. I don't know their schedule, so I cannot speak for the Ministry of Legal Affairs. But what I can say is we're hoping to have that in place this 2026.
Thank you, Minister. Again, thank you, Kalistra. I have a question here from Kayla Flavini from WFM News. I believe she's having some trouble logging in this morning. The question reads, can we see any collaboration with the RGPF and the Ministry of Social Development in community policing and other engagements for violence against women, for example, self-defense classes? I don't know if there have already been some collaboration there, but can you speak to that?
Well, we work along with the police in all areas of in terms of planning, prevention, responding to GBV. We have a representative from the police on our committee that deals with community response and community matters. And we continue to work with them. The idea of self-defense classes is something that could be considered, but in general way, the police is highly involved with us, and we work along with them. And that includes Ministry of Health as well as education.
Nice. All right, thank you. I now open the floor for one more question from the media.
Based on the GLCI findings, are there plans to expand or redesign the SEED program in 2026?
Well, it will automatically be redesigned. That is the whole question of the new tool. In that, we have persons who are excluded, they will be included. The criteria that allow some people to be left out will be considered, so they will be included. That is the adjustment. And we have some people that are on seed that already need the seed. They will have to be excluded. For example, we been assisting a family to send the children to school. The children have graduated, they have a job, the family situation improved. That family no longer need to be on seed. So the whole question of the new tool is a reformation.
How do you, a follow-up question, how do you deal with people on seed who will no longer be there? Will you just kick them out? What is the process of moving them from the seed program?
Well, most of them are already in a place where they could just be moved out. As I just mentioned, some of the families are families that we have been supporting over the years to send the children to school. And the children are now working, and the family situation has improved. So it's not just like kicking them out. They're in a situation where they could now take care and take charge of their life because of the support we have been giving them over the years. So they reach at a point where now they could handle the story, as we say. So it's not kicking them off. They have graduated out of the program.
Nice. Okay, I believe we have one final question from Kalistra, and then we will wrap up this morning's press conference. Kalistra, you may go ahead with your question.
Final, I promise. Minister, you did not address my question about chemical castration as an option in the bundle of penalties that can be attached to sex crimes. Well, whether or not it is a recommendation that you feel you can make to the legal drafters at legal.
Well, maybe I could suggest, but this was not a consideration at this point by the cabinet or the government. But, as you say, maybe I could recommend on your behalf.
Thank you. Somebody is also recommending death by firing squad. It's a lot, it's a lot. And we welcome suggestions from the public, and I think there should be some public engagement as well. And I know going forward, the ministry will have some more public engagements to get views and thoughts from the public. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming close to the end. I'm going to open the floor once again for our minister to make some closing remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Etienne. Before we close, I just want to appeal to the public that we need to be a little bit more intentional on our efforts to get rid of domestic violence, gender-based violence. We get outraged, we react strongly when incident like what happened weekend takes place, and it's your right, But along the way, we have not contributed in any way to its reduction or the chance of it not happening. We hear men put down women, and we would say, brother man, stop that now. What is going on with there now? We're not really helping the whole system to be better. Some of us, we even take part in all kind of negative things towards women, and when women get their life is lost, we react and we get so strong about things. But we were the guys on the block last week calling women all kind of names, doing all kind of a thing. So I think we need to see how we have to look at how we relate with women. We need to see how we treat our women. And parents, I cannot say it enough. You need to know, you need to raise your boys in a manner to respect women and to be there for the sister, the brother, the cousin, the neighbor, and what have you. So we have to build a culture. We have to have a society where we are so aware that every step we make, we ensure that we look after the welfare of our women and we respect them. Not just react strongly when one lose their life. So boys on the block, I hope you're hearing me. Men that will have respect for their partner, I hope you're hearing me. Young children, you're hearing me, and we have to look at the music that we play, the music we listen, and the music we allow to infiltrate our society. I think all these things contribute to the way we interact and relate to our women. So I just want to say we need to be more proactive than reactive, and we need to make sure that we respect our women.
Thank you so much, Minister. This has been our press conference for today. I want to say special thanks to our Minister for Social Development and Gender Affairs, our PS in the ministry, PS Petal Rush, and of course our SEED manager. We know we gave you baptism this morning. Thank you so much, Kinder, for coming on with us this morning. And I also want to say special thanks to the members of the media and, of course, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. Have a terrific Tuesday, and remember to be vigilant and to be our neighbor's keeper today. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one.